Welcome to LiTFUSE. I'd like to start by acknowledging that Tieton Arts and Humanities resides on ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Confederated Tribes and Bands of the Yakama Nation. Tieton Arts and Humanities values all relationships that reinforce our commitment to art as a powerful tool for equity and diversity, in recognizing the history and respecting the sovereignty of Washington's Indian nations. Tieton Arts and Humanities recognizes and honors these first people and their significant role today in stewarding these lands as they continue to honor and uphold their ancient heritage. Our featured reader tonight is Maria Marchand, and Maria Marchand is Poet Laureate of Ellensburg, Washington. And for those of you who don't know, she's actually the very first Ellensburg Poet Laureate. This is a very new position. Her poetry has been published in Krenog Magazine, Catamaran Literary Reader, California Quarterly, Patterson Literary Review, Tiny Seed Journal, and Anti-Heroin Chic. Her second book, Gifts to the Attentive, which she has here, was published by Winter Goose Publishing in May of 2022. You can read her poetry at mishipoet.com and follow her on Twitter at mishipoet. Can we all please welcome Marie?
Thank you so much, Jen, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you all for being here, and hello to people in the virtual world. So gratitude has been on my mind a lot, and not just because some of us celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow or because it's National Gratitude Month, but because I really have embraced it as an intentional practice for my own psychological health, because as we all know, our brain has a negativity bias, and so we kind of grasp onto and remember the negative things that happen. And so having a gratitude practice for me really helps to bolster my mood and lends me perspective. So even something like writing 3 things that I'm thankful for that happened during the day at night before bed is really helpful for me. And so on the theme of gratitude, what I'd like to do tonight is share 14 poems of gratitude that I've written for 11 individuals. And the appropriate place to start, I thought, was with mother, because that is where we as humans start, or where our human form starts. So, this one is called Mother Mary. I want to write a poem about the last time I saw my mother. It would be a modest poem describing an autumn afternoon in Colorado when a mother and daughter sat together on a back patio, and the daughter assessed a neglected lawn full of leaves, dry grass, and sticks. This poem would recount how the daughter started raking the debris into piles, working by quadrant across the wide space, and how she looked over to the patio every few minutes to check in with her quiet mother, who nodded and smiled, leading the daughter to wonder about the mysterious inner landscape of dementia. And how time passed with the crinkling and whooshing of leaves and the rake scraping the ground, and how the repetitive motion felt to the daughter like a meditation. And how when she was focused intently on the task facing away from the house, she turned slightly and noticed her mother standing nearby, shoulders curved forward, a rake in her hands, slowly gathering up detritus. I want to write a poem about the last time I saw my mother, but it always stops there, because how can I describe the fullness of that moment? The wordless connection, the tenderness, the peace. Thank you. And now we move to my best friend from childhood, Pam Miller. And she and her family were really important to me in multiple ways. There was a little chaos in my home, even though it was a really idyllic environment to grow up in Loveland, Colorado. but her home and her love and companionship really saved me. So this poem is from my childhood. Well, it was written about 10 years ago, but it's about my childhood, and it's a poem of gratitude for Pam and then also for the environment that was beautiful, Loveland, Colorado. Favorite memory for Pam. In Colorado, dusk lasts forever. Apricot, clementine fire, luscious grape divine, distinct outlines muted, drenched in warm light. In other words, heaven. For hours after supper, we'd twirl cartwheels on Pam's lawn until we could no longer see, only feel our movements. Then, inevitably, my mom would yell, "Marie, Marie, time to come home." And I'd think, but I am home, Mom. Beneath the sky, tippy toes on earth, here I am. There I was, my lithe body tricking gravity, laughing, being free. I did know then what I know now. Those times were the kernel of life. Thank you. And now we move on from my mom to my childhood best friend to my son. And I'll read two poems for Drew. The first was written about 11 years ago, and he turns 22 next month. This one is called Jewel in His Eye, for Drew. Dragons, skateboard, mama, the beautiful boy lights up the world, says yes, stepping out onto the porch, tiptoeing to the ledge of life, looking back at mama only once before dropping in for real, the 12-foot wall, vert. Blue eyes smile, fearless dreaming, the jewel in his eye, before he goes, I see it glimmer. My baby boy grows up. Thank you. And this one was written for Drew about 10 months ago. Testament. I tried to paint you a painting in case you're tired of words. Warm-throated Gregorian chant echoed against the snow as I brushed the canvas with artistic ineptitude, although I am adept at prayer. So as the brush moved concentrically, I prayed. My scrappy drubbing smoothed into rhythmic Zen-like strokes, and each time the end of a circle merged with its beginning, my prayers for your healing moved closer to realization. I may never show you the painting. It can hardly be called art. But since my prayers infuse the canvas, I will save it as a testament to your love. And when your wounds are healed, I'll run my finger along the seams, the points where in my mind I made you whole. And now I'd like to read two poems for my husband, which I'm sure he's really happy about. He's like getting all nervous over there. What's she going to read? And we met each other about 35 years ago, but just reconnected 6 years ago. So this first poem was written about 6 years ago, right on the eve of me leaving to find out what was happening. It's called Wyoming. I have to see what this is. I have to go to it, explore, wonder, impose myself, split open the dust cloud and dry land, bring my rain. I have to touch this untouchable, listen, receive, sit under the big cedar sky and wait. Wait to see how the past reemerges in time. Then this one was written about a year ago, and it was in the Catamaran Literary Reader. And they're a great magazine. They print a lot of poems about the sea. So They're from California. My gatherer, for Steve. Caught in moontides at twilight, briny seawater scrubs and sears my lungs. A hypnotic pulse illumines the shore, my beacon. You pull me from the noose of shipwreck nets and froth waves, stitch me together, pin roses in my hair, and make me beautiful. Cortisol rivulets dig troughs in my brain from past schisms, making my heart-opening drama a glacial tiptoe. Yet you wait, and your patient witness invites repose. In your waters of benevolence I rest, my loosened fragments bonded by your love. The sea glitters now, and on its salt melt dreams I float. Now on to one of my good friends, Ellen. She's an activist and she lives in Bellingham. She's turning 84, I believe, in January. So she's an octogenarian. And I'd like to share two poems. You're here for octogenarians. Yes, so this first one I wrote about 2 months ago. It's called Indistinguishable, for Ellen. For her, God became bigger than doctrine, more encompassing than dogma. God became breath and space and emptiness. God became her pulse at rest and the full body surrender of not knowing, of unknowing. God became the nesting of sparrows and finch in the courtyard outside her window and the generous pine boughs bobbing in the autumn breeze. God became free of the boundedness of words, and as God became free, she became free too. At the same rate and into the same wide expanse, she and God grew together, bursting beyond any human conception or limitation. They became air, drafts mingled with light, carrying our prayers everywhere. And then this was inspired by Ellen's spirit. Tiny altars. I happened to be in the grocery store the moment I gave up for good. An elderly woman paused in passing, and as if she could see the mound of broken ribs in my mind, said to me, "It's time to shed your stone, Atlas." Her tone and delivery were casual, as if this would be an easy thing for me to do. She continued past me, and I proceeded down the aisle, gripping the cold metal cart. When I rounded the corner, my shoulders weakened, and the weight just rolled off, crumbling into tiny altars at my feet. Thank you. Okay. So the last poem is a poem of gratitude for my own resilience, and I think that's important for us to all recognize, is everything that we've been through and that we're still here. So it's a very short poem called Letting Go of Grief. Speaking out was the moment I realized my power. Hiding secrets in a shell magnified an ominous grief, diminishing my vision and voice. So I allowed the truth to flow out of me, down the steep hillside I had been climbing, to quench the hot and dusty gulch below me and make a new river from which thirsty birds now drink. Thank you so much for your attention and for inviting me.